The harbor was unusually quiet that morning. The water looked calm, almost innocent, as if nothing bad could ever happen there. Boats floated peacefully in their slips, their masts gently tapping against one another. I had come early, planning to spend a few quiet hours on my sailboat, the same boat I had worked years to afford. But the moment I stepped onto the dock, my heart sank. Police cars were parked everywhere. Blue and red lights reflected across the water. Officers stood in groups, whispering, watching the center of the marina like something terrible was about to happen. Then I saw it. A large yellow excavator sat on the dock, its engine running. Right beside it was my boat. I rushed forward, asking what was going on, but no one answered me clearly. One officer told me to stay back. Another said it was an HOA matter. That didn't make sense. The harbor had always been peaceful. There had never been serious issues before. That's when the HOA representative appeared. She walked toward me calmly, holding a clipboard like this was just another day at the office. She said my boat violated new HOA rules, something about harbor appearance and non-compliance. I told her I had never received a warning. She didn't care. Before I could even pull out my documents, she raised her hand. The excavator moved. Metal creaked. The massive arms swung slowly toward my sailboat. People started yelling. Kayakers tried to paddle away. Someone shouted for them to stop, but it was too late. The steel bucket slammed into the side of my boat. The sound was unbearable. Wood snapped. Fiberglass shattered. Water rushed in instantly. I stood frozen as my boat began to break apart right in front of my eyes. The police did nothing. The HOA watched, and my life's dream began to sink. And that was only the beginning. The excavator didn't stop after the first hit. Again and again, the metal bucket crashed into my sailboat. Each udar felt like it was hitting my chest. Pieces of wood and fiberglass floated across the harbor like broken memories. Water rushed in faster, and within minutes, the boat I had loved for years was half submerged. I shouted, I begged, I showed my documents. No one listened. The HOA representative stood there, calm and cold, checking boxes on her clipboard as if she was supervising routine maintenance, not the destruction of someone's property. She claimed the HOA had full authority over the harbor. According to her, resistance was pointless. Around us, people recorded everything on their phones. Kayakers struggled to stay clear as debris spread across the water. Tourists stared in shock. Even some police officers looked uncomfortable, but they said they were only there to keep the peace. And that was the moment I realized something terrifying. This wasn't about rules. This was about power. When the boat finally gave up, it tilted sharply to one side. The mast leaned, ropes snapped, and with a final groan, the hull sank into the water. The harbor fell silent. The HOA declared the situation resolved. They packed up their equipment and left behind wreckage, oil stains, and silence. I was left standing on the dock, staring at the water where my boat had once been. But what they didn't know was that I had already made a call. That same evening, I met with a maritime attorney. I showed him every permit, every contract, every approval I had ever received. He read quietly, then looked up and smiled. They had no right to do this, he said. That was the first moment I felt hope. Within days, official letters were sent. Emergency injunctions were filed. Videos from the harbor spread rapidly online. Comment sections exploded with anger. The HOA tried to justify their actions. But the law told a different story. The internet didn't stay quiet for long. By the next morning, videos of the destruction were everywhere. People watched in disbelief as an excavator crushed a perfectly legal sailboat while police stood by. Headlines spread fast, and so did the outrage. Comment sections exploded with one question. How could this be allowed? The HOA tried to control the damage. They released a short statement claiming they acted within their authority to protect community standards. But the evidence told a different story. My lawyer moved quickly. He filed for an emergency court hearing, arguing that the HOA had committed unlawful destruction of private property. In court, we presented everything: valid permits, marina contracts, and proof that the harbor fell under maritime jurisdiction, not HOA bylaws. The room went silent as the judge reviewed the documents. Then came the turning point. The HOA's legal team admitted they had not issued formal notice. They admitted they had not received court approval. And worst of all, they admitted they assumed their authority extended over the harbor. That assumption cost them everything. The judge ruled that the HOA had acted recklessly and without legal power. An immediate injunction was issued, stopping any further interference with the marina. The court ordered a full investigation into the HOA's actions. News channels picked up the story. Protesters gathered outside HOA meetings. Homeowners demanded answers. Board members started blaming each other. The confident authority they once showed at the harbor completely disappeared. Behind closed doors, panic set in. Resignations began quietly. Insurance companies refused to cover the damages. Legal fees skyrocketed. And for the first time, the HOA realized something terrifying. They were about to lose more than just a case. They were about to lose control. The final court decision came faster than anyone expected. After weeks of investigation, the evidence was overwhelming. The videos, witness statements, and legal documents all pointed to one undeniable truth: the HOA had abused its power. The judge's words were firm and final. The HOA was found guilty of illegal property destruction, abuse of authority, and violation of maritime law. They were ordered to pay full compensation, not just for the boat, but for emotional distress, loss of use, and legal costs. The amount was massive, far more than the boat was ever worth. The courtroom was silent. The HOA president resigned that same day. 2 board members were permanently removed. The marina contract was terminated, stripping the HOA of any future control over the harbor. What they destroyed in minutes cost them years of credibility. I never recovered my sailboat. It rested at the bottom of the harbor, a painful memory of that day. But I gained something more important: justice, dignity, and a voice. My story became a warning shared across communities and social media. Because power without knowledge becomes dangerous. And authority without limits becomes abuse. Moral of the story: rules do not give anyone the right to destroy another person's property.